Jim was always, he did restorations earlier, but that was always about what you did wrong. Everything you did was judged on wrong. You got the wrong light bulb and the wrong date-coded light bulb in the glove box. It's like, this is crazy. Went to Catholic school, nuns, everything's about rules. No more rules. We got to get back to just having fun. So we started just doing it in the collision and kind of, and like everybody, you built your car, you sold it, tried it again and sold it. Probably lost money on every one, but you still love doing it.
Sure.
And finally in about 07, somebody saw us and asked us to build that reactor car. It was our first really car we did. And that's kind of the nutshell how the Ring Brothers started. And just followed the passion. And good things came.
Hey, welcome to Car Guy Confessions, brought to you by ARP. I'm Jeff Smith. This is my car buddy Cam Benty and car builder Steve Strope, and we're going to tell you some stories.
We need to get started because I'm anxious to grill this person.
That'll take about 2 minutes.
Should we change chairs here?
No. This is you got the cockpit, man. You're the captain.
All right, you ready? Okay. So welcome to another episode of Car Guy Confessions with Jeff Smith. My buddy Steve Strope is here, the famous
Howdy.
Steve Strope, and a special guest star, Mike Ring.
Yay.
And we're going to tell some stories here, but first we have to thank our friends at arp-bolts.com for helping us out, sponsoring this whole thing.
You got that. You got that.
I did,
you got it
I
this
did
time.
it well. There's usually 10 takes where I don't do that, and then every once in a while we get it right. And then also our friends with the Grand National Roadster Show.
That's right.
Because I somehow managed to put Buick in there the last time.
Grand National Buick Show?
Well, because I think of Grand National Buicks. Cars are in my head. You know, I don't recognize people. I only recognize cars.
Nice.
I had a friend here yesterday, a guy I've known for years, Gary Kolosky, and I completely whiffed on who he was.
Fiero.
Oh, my God. It was so embarrassing.
That's an insult.
I am getting old, man. And he goes, it's okay. I'm older than you are. You know, but it was so embarrassing. Anyway, wait.
First off, before we begin, I just want to say, because usually I try to dress okay, but today I stepped it up because usually Mike is one of the only other guys at SEMA dressed well.
He's dapper.
He understands, and I'm like, I can have my little buddy, Robert Graham, and I show up, and he's got a flannel on.
You put enough thought into this because you dressed for the occasion here.
There I was.
I wanted to be like Steve.
Yeah,
dressing for success.
Oh, that's what you wanted.
Dressed to the test.
So now I just look overdressed. So anyway.
You know, well, there's rare times when I actually wear something other than a T-shirt. It's just cold, so that's why I got my sweatshirt on.
Cold
in this room.
It's cold back in Iowa.
So we also need to announce that Mike Ring, and the illustrious vehicle that he brought is actually over here on the West Coast.
Yeah.
You're all the way over here.
It's a long jaunt.
Yeah.
It's
it
a long
is.
way.
Sure.
And it's sure been nice. We went to Barrett-Jackson, tried to see if we could win a little money to come to this place. That didn't work out, but I'm glad we came anyway because this is
my favorite show.
This is
my favorite show.
Only Barrett-Jackson makes money at those shows, isn't it? Isn't that
Oh,
what
yeah.
happens?
Yeah, you know that, right?
Yeah, that'll be the last, I think, that I'll spend. But not here. This place is amazing.
So can we talk about the car?
Well,
Whatever you want
Why
to.
do you think the boy's here?
Well, just
I
checking.
believe it's a truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to
started as a truck.
Yeah. Now this was kind of a backdoor project, sort of a way.
It
in the
really
beginning?
was. It was a guy first came to us. He doesn't want us to mention his name.
Wait. We have to pretend not everybody who watches this knows everything we're talking about. So Mike Ring has a place with his brother Jim called Ring Brothers. Is it ringbrothers.com?
Correct.
Right. So you go there and check out the bottomless array of unbelievable cars. If you don't know who they are, and parts, that's
thanks.
right. Real cool stuff to purchase for your own little ride, right? So I'm sure if you're watching this 20-1, you already know who they are and the endless amount of accolades that they've deserved and received. So they had a truck that was unveiled at SEMA that, landslided everything. And they've brought it out here. Like you said, you were at the Barrett-Jackson gig for a little bit, then swung by here to let everybody else see it. Because SEMA, as broadcasted as it is still a closed industry situation. Here it is open to the public. like at Barrett-Jackson.
And
So
a large public.
yeah, and a large group of people who
Long
are
line to get in here this morning.
yeah. So they're letting a whole bunch of people enjoy all their hard work and their absolutely stunning creation. So that being said, so you've got it here. And so he said it was like a backdoor deal.
Well, yeah, it started out, honestly, the owner was at Barrett-Jackson. No, I got back up. He's a big boat guy, big motor, everything he does is fast, boats,
Okay.
everything. So he had these twins, supercharged, 200 grand a piece motors that were just insane, 3,000 horsepower. Problem was they're 48 inches from the oil pan to the top of the supercharger.
Sure.
They
So
are
he brought
large.
one to the shop, and he's like, "I want to build a truck." And we're like, "Tape measure."
Not with that.
So we talked to old friend Carl Wagner, who was our engine builder,
Yeah.
a great man. And he's like, "You dumbasses, that lake couldn't cool that thing. How you think you're gonna make that run?" So we kind of told him we can't build anything. I mean, we just can't do it. We can't fit it, and it bummed him out. So he shelved it, and he then went to Barrett-Jackson after a while and came back and he says, "Let's just re-go after that." Because we had done some renderings for him. And he said, "Let's go after that truck project again." And then they had this motor, which was, an LS.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what
Yes,
LSs
the
are.
Carl Wagner motor.
Yeah. Well, actually, it wasn't the Carl. It was
was it?
by the same engine
Oh,
builder,
okay.
Todd Goodwin in
Okay.
Wisconsin also.
Okay.
But it was this 510 cubic inch LS, big, all motor, no boosters, making 1,000. Because this guy, he wanted a rat rod.
Okay.
So,
That's not a rat.
don't tell him that, because that's what we told him it was.
It's a floating definition.
Yeah,
right?
it's a floating rat rod. So that's kind of how it started. He went back at it and really has just been a prince of a man and let us build. You don't get that opportunity to build things.
Right. Yeah.
Most people want to see somebody had already done something, a Fairlane to a Camaro to.
Yeah.
It's hard to get somebody to spend money on something they've never seen or nobody's really done.
There's no real
So
vision
that's
other than maybe a rendering on a piece of
right.
paper.
Yeah, and
Right.
then it's like,
Yeah.
what's the, but it was something he wanted, and if the rest of the world liked it, it would be great. But if they didn't, he really didn't care.
Didn't really care.
So it was a pretty special project to go in that in depth in something that's that goofy.
Yeah.
crazy.
Now with giant slicks on it.
Yeah.
Was the intention originally to take it out and be aggressive with it on a track or something?
Yeah, but we do have street tires for it
Okay,
too.
all
So
right.
it was meant, but it just looks too mean
Oh,
with
yeah,
the
tires
slicks
on it.
on
Yeah,
it
with slicks.
versus
Because what it has that vibe of the modified,
Sure.
right? Those
Right.
are usually
Yeah.
offset engines,
Right.
but other than that, it has
kinda, yeah,
certainly
the-
has that vibe. Yeah.
And the world today with Formula One and all the things in the world of Formula One, how big it's becoming, kind of gave it that little Formula One Indy feel, and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
was cool to step out. And do
Open
something.
wheel.
Open
Huh?
wheel.
Open wheel. There you go. And honestly, it's probably the only car we've ever done that, renderings always look amazing. But they can't steer, right? They got the tires darked out and slammed
right.
and
Right up against the
just-
wheel wells.
And it looks amazing.
What are you talking about? Everything's doable in the
But it's
Ask
like,
every one of the artists.
Yeah. So people are like, when you build it, they're like, it's not like the rendering. It's like, can't make it work.
Right.
Yeah, because
Right.
there's
This
things
thing-
like gravity, physics.
Yeah. But
Those
open
boring
wheel
things
is
like that.
It's something you
Reality.
Can actually, it looks like the rendering.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you saw the rendering, it looks like the rendering because you can make it work. With
Sure.
open
We'll
wheel.
be putting the rendering up right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll have to get you it.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we will. We'll
Good.
flashing it up.
Yeah.
Hopefully of your car.
Yeah.
So
The 3-year-old's rendering goes, it's the only rendering we can find. Sorry.
that's my nephew's version of a walrus. And
So what trans is in it?
We got with Mark Bowler. It's got a transaxle in it.
Okay.
So we exposed the torque tube through the whole thing.
Okay.
So the transaxle, but most of those vets always had like a 4L60 or 65. And Mark knew a guy that did a lot of road racing, put a 4L80 in it.
Okay.
Kind of wanted a manual, but the guy didn't want the
Okay.
manual. But
Okay. Yeah.
for me, it
That
was
would have
like-
fit. That really would have fit
Yeah.
in. Yeah. Yeah.
But it does. We made this
Especially
really,
a sequential transmission
Yeah,
where you
exactly.
just bang the
Just
handle.
bang
and,
it.
oh, that'd be just so awesome. But it still works.
So it works.
It still works.
We made a really I think bitch and shifter. It's all titanium. We made it all, and it's mounted off the torque tube that's we exposed, and it's just been just been one of them projects that you get probably once in a lifetime to do.
Sure.
And for us, it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think
they
we
got
should
ripped
thank
off
our
by the
sponsor,
investment people, and they took
Well, maybe you should bring that up.
Probably not. And I mean, we all three.
Oh, we got to
cars,
bring him on
work
here.
this stuff,
Oh,
and
he's awesome.
tinker.
I love
You
Frank.
tinker.
I
We
tinker.
crazy,
Yeah,
man. We all
I just
do
did
it.
a story on that.
And you know what?
And what's
It's kind
can you
of
remember
what's
the
my
code?
motivation?
That way you can pipe
Multiple
in.
purpose
Promo code is
fastener for
CarGuy10.
me because there's all the science
Because
and all
by
the
the time I get into
technology,
it,
which is
it'll go.
woohoo, bottomless. Trust me.
That's right.
Unbelievable amount of research.
Oh, okay, I'm there.
Sure, absolutely.
And
So we'd like to thank our friends at AldenAmerican.com. They make fantastic suspension stuff. We put a dual project. Let's do this again, should we? Because I can't speak for some reason. When I have to do something, I'm on the
Pardon, Jeff. He ain't got no vocabulary.
No.
For me to have them lining the engine bay, not just on the engine. So you get all the strength, the durability, the reliability, and
It's gotten worse than this. It's gotten really ugly at times.
Can I borrow that, please? There's no. I want to use that at like a wedding
Cam needs to go, so we better fly on
I'm
this.
okay.
And they can help you out.
All right.
We'll just figure it out.
Get a turnkey manual transmission conversion from American Powertrain for your muscle car, classic truck, or custom. American Powertrain offers a complete line of parts and accessories handling everything you need from the back of the block to the differential. One of the largest distributors of Tremec transmissions, American Powertrain has the parts you need to install a TKX 5-speed, Magnum T56 6-speed, or anything else you can dream up. They offer custom hydraulic clutches, cross members, bell housings, clutches, shifters, crate engines, and more. And remember, save the stick. Check out American Powertrain at AmericanPowertrain.com or call their sales line at 931-646-4836.
How long is the build
That
time?
was a 3-year deal, which for us is a lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years is long for us, but this 3 was. And Steve, in the car building world, people get frustrated. I mean, it's like they don't see
Yeah.
anything till it paint's on it.
Yeah,
You know what I
for-
mean? It's like, what
for
did
the
you
last
do? It
8
looks
months, as far as they're concerned, it looks completely the same.
same. Yeah. Every week it's
Yeah.
like, well, that's
Yeah.
another little part. How much was my bill?
Right.
Yeah,
You've
that's
done
another little
what?
part.
Spent how much
was my
time on
bill?
that?
So until you get paint on them, it's a kind of a babysitting with customers.
Oh, sure.
sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no
But
doubt that
this
you.
guy's been amazing. I'm not saying I babysat this guy
Yeah.
at all. He's just class dude.
Because it's important, from talking to
Yeah.
other builders, your relationship with your customer, you don't think about that, but it's not unlike some kind of a sports team, like a football team or a basketball team. You got to get along. 'Cause if you
gotta
don't,
get along.
it's just
Yeah, it's
horrible.
no fun for either
anybody.
end.
Anybody.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I interview customers before
I wish
We
I
do-
would
we
do
do
that.
anything.
Honestly. It's Bobby
because
Alloway always said that.
I'm
too.
with you're with them a year, 2, 3 years. You gotta like them, or you want to chew your own foot off. I swear to
So
God.
true.
So I interview now. I've got, hey, fly out. Let's if they're not in California, I want you to meet the guy, see the shop. Let's go over and meet my painter and the interior guy,
Yep.
meet the team, and get a vibe off of everybody.
Yeah.
And because it can be a nightmare. It's like if you have personalities that clash and a lot of zeros at the end of the check,
Oh boy, that's a bad combination.
it's a bad,
That's
or it's
a bad
certainly a
combination.
potential for a bad
And
combination.
then conversely, if you've got a great relationship with your customer, it's a joy to build the
It
car.
really
fun.
is, and
Yeah.
hopefully they enjoy the ride too. Because
and I'm sure with you, they become friends. You're around
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
2 years, and
Sure. Oh, yeah.
do all this stuff.
this
They
guy's
become
been
close to
kinda
the
hands
shop.
off. He really hadn't seen it run, hadn't heard it till Barrett Jackson.
Really? Wow.
Really?
Wow.
Yep, because he just
Did he drive it there?
no, he doesn't want to be around it. He doesn't want anybody to know who owns it.
Okay,
So
okay.
he's doesn't even get near it. He can hear it though.
Wow, that's got to be hard.
Yeah,
you
I
spend
mean,
all this money.
I get it.
And
I
you
mean-
want to tell the world this is my baby. This
Well,
is
you
my
do,
deal.
but I get it. Like
It depends.
As-
George Poteet's like that too. When he was a customer, I built
just-
that
they
NASCAR
just-
Charger for him, and in fact, I unveiled it here, and he hadn't seen it yet, and I was nervous.
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
He walks up to it and looks around, puts his hands in his pockets. and he had asked me a good car builder story, right? So he wants this NASCAR imaged style Charger. He wants to be able to get in it, turn the key, and go beat the crap out of it too, right? So we're talking this and that, and I'm asking him this, kind of going to checklist. Don't care. You do it. You're the designer, which is like, here's some rope.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of rope and yeah.
So he goes, I don't care what you quote. I don't care what you got to do, even if you use a choke cable for a lawnmower. Don't give me those headlight doors vacuum. I want those manually working, and nobody had the electric motor kits back then. Yeah. So I'm like, all right. So I got a hold of control cable.
Okay.
And I made a transmission, the two feed to one, and then one under the dash, and it's solid rod. So, right?
Wow.
So, and I got it down. I mean, it worked perfectly. And so here I'm waiting for him to see the car. I have it here, and he comes walking in. He looks around it, poking his head around, looking at everything. And then he just walks that way. I'm like, he didn't say anything, just walks that way. Goes about 20 feet, and I'm like, and he turns around, and I kid you not, he goes like this. Open up them headlight doors.
The test.
And I go, boom. And he goes, I love it. And walked off.
He walked off.
And I went, was that the whole?
That was the whole.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah, that was the test.
All
Didn't
happy
want to
about
around,
it.
just the headlights. Yeah, I can believe
Wanted
it.
manual headlight doors, and everything was fine.
The customer's always right.
That was I'm like, where's he going? He's walking away.
He's walking away.
Turns around, just goes, open up them headlight doors. Yes, sir.
People like that, they just, it's kind of like at the work too, or just, you don't want to flaunt things in front of your employees. So I think he's real good about that too, right? Yeah. It's his private, and which is cool. I definitely get it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So now,
so how did all this start?
Just
everybody always asks that question, so I'll just throw it out
our
there.
business?
Your business,
or
yeah.
Well, if anybody knew the Ring brothers from a young age, we obviously were from a really small town, like 600.
Okay.
And
in
Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin,
in a small town in Wisconsin, and to get the women, you had to have a car. And we knew that at 12.
Okay.
And
honesty.
Yeah. I mean, so you wanted to build, and we always tinkered. I mean, if we could make something run, I remember we would jump in dumpsters, and Kramer's a big construction company, and take motor pieces off a lawnmower so you could build the go-kart.
Okay.
You'd start them up with nothing, and it would be bouncing on the concrete, and it would either go till it ran out of gas or mom ran out of patience, and that's kind of how it started. Our dad owned a gas station, but it still started long before that.
Okay.
I don't know. I think car guys smell gas. I don't know how to explain why half the world or a quarter of the world just doesn't understand.
There's a country western song right now. I don't know who sings it, but one of the lines is, it's heart like a truck, and this runs on dreams and gasoline. Yeah. And I thought, what a great line. That's a great line. I'm stealing that, and it's absolutely true.
It's absolutely why it bit us at such a young age. I don't know, but we'd do anything to. And we painted cars through high school, and I remember one month we changed the car color every weekend. We painted it a different color for 1 month. So 4 times that month it went to school with a
different color.
With a different color.
Yeah. Wow.
And so then I went in the Navy, and Jim became a crane operator, but always loved cars. I was in Coronado working.
Thank you for your service, by the way.
No, thanks.
Yeah. And so you're in the Navy.
I was in the Navy.
Okay.
I was a rescue swimmer in the Navy.
Really?
And
Really?
we flew
To
in
jump out of
helicopters. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, so you're
So I was working in Coronado. Our squadron was in Coronado, but I spent every weekend at the base working on cars in the hobby shop.
The hobby shop. You see, my dad was in the Marines.
Oh, cool.
And then my brother was also a Marine. So
so the hobby shop was amazing. It was like tools I'd never had working with, and they had a paint booth, and Back then it was all lacquer and hand rubbing that black by hand.
yeah.
600 was as fine as they made back then. Sanded it with 600 and actually hand rubbed those cars out.
Man,
So I
how
got
long did that take?
Forever.
Yeah.
I'm still rubbing.
man.
My shoulders are shot from that. So, I never lost a passion for cars all through that. I worked construction when I got out. Jim worked construction. We traveled around, married my wife from the Bay Area, drug her back to the town of 600.
Mm-hmm.
We were working in Nashville at the time, and Jim had went back a few years earlier, bought a pace car, had no money. He went to a bank in Chicago. They gave him the money to buy it. He didn't know him, didn't have an account. They gave him $5,000, and he went and bought this pace car down the street.
Wow.
Fixed it up, sold it. That's the start of his business.
Okay.
In '94, he asked me to come back. I said, well, I'll buy in, but he goes, well, you can get 49%. I said, 50% or I ain't coming. Bought in. So all we did was oil changes, collision, tires, exhaust.
So it's just basically a repair place.
Just repair. And Jim was always, he did restorations earlier, but that was always about what you did wrong. Everything you did was judged on wrong. You got the wrong light bulb and the wrong date coded light bulb in the glove box. It's like, this is crazy. Went to Catholic school, nuns, everything's about rules. No more rules. We got to get back to just having fun. So we started just doing it in the collision and kind of, and like everybody, you built your car, you sold it, tried it again and sold it. Probably lost money on every one, but you still love doing it.
Sure.
And finally in about '07, somebody saw us and asked us to build that reactor car. Was our first really car we did. And kind of just stayed with it. But we still keep the collision side and, still do that and do a little more machining. And so...
And starting to sell parts now, too.
And
so
selling
that's
parts, because we would build something, you always wanted to be a little different, so you built it, and you're like, oh, God, people asked for that. Why don't we just make a few more of them?
Yeah.
That's kind of how it went. So
it's like stuff that you showed me. You had a milled washer.
The washers. I'm actually going to be releasing those.
It's a great idea.
It is.
It works really good.
And it's crazy because car guys will pick up on the littlest stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The littlest,
Isn't
tiniest
that
thing.
funny how
I could use
they
that
notice
on my car.
the little
The reason
things.
we're doing it is on the back side of the washer, it's beveled.
So it doesn't smush the paint.
Push the
It
paint
doesn't.
out.
It doesn't push the paint
It's
out.
a problem solver.
Right.
Yeah.
But I got some cool ones coming in titanium.
There you go. Yeah.
Because aluminum is not exotic enough.
No.
Stainless. I need tie.
There you go.
That's
So
right.
yeah, that's kind of the nutshell how the Ring Brothers started, and just followed the passion, and good things came. You know, power of the internet came. So it's,
and people started following you, and then it just
a little
explodes
bit
from there.
we're not Troy or we're not,
Well,
people like that, but
you're making a mark.
we did what we,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Hey, we'd like to thank our sponsor, ARP-bolts.com. We got a fantastic little backdrop here. They make an outstanding series of bolts, almost anything you would need for engines, chassis, things like that. In fact, we were at lunch today, and a guy asked you about the bolt on the back of your shirt, and and I said, well, it's really about a head bolt. They neck the stem down of the bolt on a short, small block Chevy head bolt, so that the clamp load is even across 3 different head bolt lengths on a small block Chevy. And, so that's the kind of technology that you get out of ARP. And we've all got stories on all that stuff.
For a translation of what he said, call ARPbolts.com.
but the message is that you can't get any better than that.
No, you cannot.
There you go.
Nope. Excellent.
And then just check them out at ARP-bolts.com. We'd like to thank our friends at InTheGarageMedia.com. They have 3 fantastic magazines. They've got Classic Truck Performance, they have Modern Rotting, and my favorite, All Chevy Performance with Nick, my buddy Nick,
you're
the editor.
Biased.
So
Correct.
yes, of course.
Yes.
But they're doing print media, which is of course our favorite. So
In color and
magazine.
everything.
In color and everything, and you can get your car on the cover of one of those books, which is a fun
that's
deal.
a lot. Great tech.
Great
Written
tech.
by you and others
not always
that are
written by me,
famous
but
people.
Yeah,
Famous people
Not
have written all the
always
tech.
written by me.
that's right.
Just
So
pick it
check
up and
them
read
out
it.
at InTheGarageMedia.com, and they're our friends, and they will thank you.
I remember watching you guys come in. And I actually spread the word, as you know. I was like, hey, told quite a few people, you need to go over and see these boys' cars. This stuff's pretty hip.
That's where we met, at SEMA, and you always been gracious. You had shorter hair then.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It was longer before you met me. Then I cut it. And I grew it back out again.
But you talk about passion. This guy, like, shit, I get nervous around him. He's so passionate.
What's wrong with you? I love this stuff. I eat, breathe, and sleep it. And we've talked about it before. Like it's hard to explain, especially to people on the outside of this world. It's like, what's the deal? It's like, I can't. I think how do I tell you? I don't know.
With it in a way. I don't think you can. Maybe people have. I haven't met a true car guy that it was at a very young age. Mm-hmm. You know, I haven't met a car guy that was 50 and decided to get into cars.
To get into cars, yeah. Well, by that time,
there have been people who got exposed to it and went, "This is fun. I like this. This is really cool."
Yeah.
And they do indeed like it and enjoy it, but they don't have the same problems you and I and him have.
Well,
where
so much
you can't.
Of it.
You
so
can't
much
get
of it
that,
is
you can't get it out.
Yeah.
It's in here.
I think you have to be young though, because it's very frustrating early on, and you know that you don't know, but you're willing to put the effort in. And then because I think about trying to do something like that now, and I just don't think it could be done because you just don't have patience for it. Right? You're older and it's like, so you have to really probably be into it at a young age. Nothing wrong with coming in later, but the time is working against, the curve is working against you because the learning curve is so steep. And it's funny, I'm on a Facebook page for just 66 Chevelles because I've got a ton of them. And and the questions that these guys ask are so basic. And it's like, and it's like, wow, okay. There's nothing wrong with that because there's nothing wrong with it because they have to learn, and it's like, you've got this great car and you're asking me this. So it's like, okay, you really don't understand how this works, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Let me help you do this. And that's kind of what I do with my writing is to try and, even though there's a basic question here, I can jump right to the answer, but I lay the thing out and try it. And people really appreciate that because it's like, because halfway through your explanation, you make a connection that I'd never seen or heard before, and now I understand how it works. And that's the whole point of it. Because you want to encourage people to come in. I read somebody's column one time. I forget, I apologize, couldn't remember the author's name. But he talks about the fact that, like in Moby Dick, the preacher goes to his pulpit, and then he pulls the ladder up behind him so that you can't go up there with him and preach. Only he can. And his point was, put ladders down. You need to put ladders down to what you know to the young people who don't know, and let them make it easier for them to climb up, as opposed to being at a show and go, and being condescending about a 59 Simca because you're not into them. I don't know if were there Simcas in 59? I'm hoping I didn't do a faux pas there. Yeah. I don't know why that popped into my head.
We need fact checking.
Yes, somebody will find out real quick. So, but the point is, they're into that. That's nothing wrong with it. You might not be into it, but they're into it. Bring them up. Come along, man. It's a fun ride, and likely you will learn something. I'll never forget this thing. We were at it was a triathlon motorsports in Vegas. I was good. I was right. How about that? It's shocking. I probably couldn't pick it out in the parking lot, but anyway. And it was a triathlon of motorsports, so it was a quarter-mile pass. You had to run on street tires. Yep. Quarter-mile pass. Then you had a 3/8 mile oval, 2 laps on a 3/8 mile oval, and then 4 laps on a 1.6 mile road course. This was all at the same facility. It's where the NASCAR facility is now. They bulldozed it all over. It was called the Automotive Triathlon, and a triathlon of motorsports. And I was pitted, my 65 Chevelle, pitted next to a guy with a, front-wheel drive import car, looked like an aardvark.
Looked like an aardvark.
Front-wheel drive, little 4-cylinder thing, and I'm making fun of him, right? And he's making fun of me because I got this big, heavy car. His car weighed less than half of the front half of my car. So we go out of the road course, right? Because it's pig slow on the drag strip, and I was doing really well in the production class, and then he proceeds to almost lap me on the road course, just wipe the floor with me, and he had a tenth of the horsepower and a third of the weight. And then it was like, okay, I need to learn from you. Yep. And he goes, you're doing this all wrong. You're approaching road racing like a drag racer. Don't do that. Work on the chassis, because he just walked away from me in the tight part of the course. So again, the point, there's a lot to learn from this guy. I don't really care about his car, but he knows something that I can learn from, and that was the big takeaway from that deal.
Sure.
So any car here we can learn from.
Absolutely.
And take that and incorporate it and say, I'm gonna steal your idea. I'm gonna take your idea and I'm gonna change it a little bit and make it my own. And then I'm a hero. And people will go, where'd you come up with that? It's like, wow, it's a creative process. Because you talk to. Well, you're into music, so guitarists, right?
Theoretically,
So they all have their influencers. They all have, who influenced Jimi Hendrix? Who influenced, all the famous guitarists,
and one of my
Eric Clapton, and
arguably one of the greatest, since I play bass, greatest bass players ever, Jaco Pastorius, has a quote that good musicians don't borrow, we steal.
You steal, sure.
You take that and then you make it your way.
And you make it your own, exactly.
Yeah,
and you guys all do the same thing, building
absolutely.
cars.
Well, and
you don't even know you're doing it, though. A lot of times you don't even realize you've done it.
Yeah.
Or
because it's in your subconscious somewhere.
Right,
It's been
exactly.
planted
I
back
believe
there.
that,
And you pull that out and go, I'm going to use that. You don't think about where it came from.
Yeah.
And it came from somebody else doing something that wasn't exactly
it's hard
the same
to be
thing you're
unique.
doing.
It's hard to be unique. You think you're the first to do it. Probably not.
Yeah, right, exactly. But it's the integration of all those ideas that make it really work.
Make it your style.
So is there a favorite one that you've done of all the stuff you guys have done so far?
I have.
That's like asking who's your favorite.
Yeah,
favorite child. Right?
I always want to say it's the next one, but talking about Chevelles, there was something about recoil Chevelle we did. It was just funky seats and just again a customer that just kind of said, "Do what you do," and those are always fun.
Yeah.
But no, you always feel like you missed it a little bit.
Okay.
And they're all meaningful stepping stones, but the passion's still there that you want to. I mean, you like all of them in a way, and you hate them all in a way. You know what I mean?
Really?
There's just something about you just wish you'd have done something different.
Okay. Yeah.
So
there always needs to be needs to be more time to
there's
do
nothing
something
as
different.
perfection. There's nothing perfect. I've never said we nailed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like just you learn, you're proud, but yet you're like, you walk away. I don't know if you feel that way, Steve, but I do. You're just.
I've been pleased.
Sure.
But yeah, you know where all the evolutions need to be on the next one, and it would have been so cool if we could have
done this,
and the build just wouldn't allow it. The car was just not taking it,
or you just didn't think of it,
or you didn't think of it till later, or
too late. Yeah.
But I so, and I'm sure you parallel. I love the creativity process.
Absolutely.
Love the creativity process and love that having it go from here to here and then it starts going together. And that idea you saw when I'm whatevering, designing, creating, I see things in my head like a slideshow. I see front three quarter, I see rear, I see the how this is going to look in here. I see it. And then it's, okay, what do we got to do to do all those modifications to create that? And then when this car starts evolving and you start seeing it in real time in front of you, that slideshow, that's the exciting for me, that ideas becoming physical in reality. And I already apologize for tapping on the table.
The Paul Rossi rule. Yeah. I saw Paul. He's here at the show. Yeah.
So and I'm sure all of us kind of parallel. I'm sure you.
Yeah, and
you guys
maybe
get excited watching
that's
it.
part of it. Is like the adventure is building it, and maybe when it gets down to the end and it's over, it's just damn.
It's not anticlimactic.
No, it's just.
But once it's done, the high, the rush of the creation, it's created.
Right.
And now, for me, it's
time to move
on. Where's the next one?
Right.
What is gonna, how do I do it?
Get that
you need that feeling of I'm creating it again. We're doing it's forming, and that's another thing that people even people in the industry or the hobby of car at home, and they're fans of the stuff, and they enjoy watching or reading what you do and watching what we do. They have a different version because their version's like, this weekend I got the new carburetor I'm going to put on, and that's the new change, and it's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
And we've gotten to a part, I think by default, we're so used to the evolution of creation that when we're not creating, it seems like a vacuum. It seems like an empty, like, joking, but where's my purpose in life? It's like, what am I doing? It's when you're not.
I just always want to build another motor.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Your never-ending quest for technical knowledge.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the same thing. If I've watched you, if you don't feed yourself with that knowledge, you go stir crazy.
Yep.
So it's interesting because I obviously talked with other builders, and it's funny when you sit down and talk in private. It's like, oh man, I just finished that thing, and I don't know what I'm doing. I got to get another car in here.
Right.
I want to start building it. So that is a segue into what is coming down the pike. Are you allowed to talk about something?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing that's. So we're doing a Rolls Royce, which I don't even think they're that cool a car. It's a 61 4-door, but it's got a Roadster Shop chassis, independent, LT4, 10-speed automatic. It's going to be a nice driving, like, fool somebody on the interstate type of car.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it all the way up. 61.
61 Rolls Royce. So they pretty much
assuming
always
They look
same,
the
don't they?
same
Yeah,
from
yeah.
whatever to whatever. Maybe they got 2 headlights instead of 1, but a Bentley to them all look the same.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just a little lower sitting than probably 1, but it's just white, and going to bring it out to Gabe's. Excited
Cool.
to have Gabe's do it.
Well, yay, home team interior boys. Greatest
Steve,
people, greatest
unfortunately,
family.
So a lot of emphasis on the interior then?
Just getting rid of the wood, that stuff
Okay.
makes me tense. You know what I mean? That Queen Anne furniture inside the car just makes me tense. So kind of getting rid of that and do it. Yeah. I don't know. It's just I just look at that and just go. "Ugh." I mean, it's like it was like being at your grandma's house and seeing that old furniture.
Yeah,
You're just like, that shit don't even look fun to sit on. So it's like,
Your cedar is uninviting.
and the lacquer's cracking, and it just makes you feel old. It just makes you feel old sitting in it. So get rid of that part. Do a little more modern gray wood-ish, like a whitewashed gray charcoal wood.
Somewhere to keep the corgis. Maybe the dogs can.
Yeah,
The little
exactly.
corgis.
So that we're doing a Charger.
What? Go ahead. You know you can talk freely.
Yeah,
The gray poupon.
Well,
There you go.
that's kind of.
That's gray poupon and corgis.
Yeah, we were talking about how we would, the owner's got a brand new Rolls, and we were going to kind of do Jim and I in chauffeurs' hats, driving our wives.
Yeah.
Have the wife roll the window down. Hey, same bet, yeah. And then whoever won just passed the gray poupon from the back seat over to the other wife.
Yeah.
That's strong advertising power. That ad still stays with us.
Yeah,
exactly.
Honest, isn't that crazy?
That's
To say
some
that,
serious staying
that's
power.
amazing.
Because that's what now?
It made
30
impact.
years?
And I can
at least.
way more, Steve. It's,
I'm trying to perfectly good lie. What is wrong with you? Fact check.
Right?
Checking
They're
out.
on it. The boys are on it.
That's
yeah,
right.
so that's
The
crazy.
headless voices.
And it's going to run an LS motor?
Yeah, an
Okay.
LT4,
Yeah.
650 horse. We,
The
bought,
fastest Rolls Royce in town.
yeah,
right?
it should roll pretty good.
1984.
That's
That's almost 40 years.
Yeah, wow. That was San Diego.
Thanks for that, Rock.
Yeah,
81, sorry.
81.
Oh,
Wow.
boo hiss.
Now it's 42 years.
Why are you looking at me?
Yikes.
I've never even tried Grey Poupon.
I never have
But
either,
everybody
so-
knows what it is.
Yep,
so.
yep.
So we got that. We
It's
got
mustard, right?
Yeah. We're building a Mustang, of course. Still got to get through them.
Okay.
Charger, one of Steve's.
Yeah.
CUDA,
Yeah.
which a CUDA for us. Never done a CUDA.
That's right. You have not done an e-body, have you? Now I'll be looking at that, sir.
Yeah, no, it's going to be no big deal. The car I'm really excited about is a 61 Aston Martin we're doing for DB. What?
James Bond.
Yeah, really. Yeah. But the renderings, if I can make it half as cool as the rendering, then it'll be pretty cool. So,
DBES?
DBS.
Wow. Super Leggera.
They're really flat-sided, need a lot of help.
I'm very familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, you are? So we're going to, since Ford was a little bit with them for a while, we're going to have to run a Ford. The owner wanted to run like Mercedes. I'm like, I ain't going to try to make a Mercedes motor run. I can make a Coyote run with twin turbos and it'll be plenty fast. And I'm going to detune the hell out of it because I'll tell you what.
Just get a new Aston motor. Right?
Yeah.
I have. Are you familiar with the magazine Vantage?
No.
So the guys over the pond that make Octane have a Aston Martin only magazine named Vantage that I, of course, have every issue of.
Of course.
It's Aston Martin only magazine. Yeah.
Well, they'll probably hate us then.
Yeah, they probably will.
Cam has an Aston Martin.
Does he really?
That's right.
There
Cam's got an Aston convertible. Got a Vantage
Wow.
convertible.
Every car start with a V with Aston Martin?
Except for the 177, the Vanquish, the Vantage. There's the DBS, the DB9, the DB11.
And James Bond's the DB5.
DB5s, the Virage. No, the four-door is the Rapide,
Oh, okay.
which I love.
I know nothing about those cars, but it's cool as a hot rodder. I
they've got-
don't
they've
need
got
to
some
know
good
because I'm
potent
not
power
restoring
plants.
it.
Yeah.
They've got some good engines. Go
Well,
get that.
this thing's
go get
got a
that engine on
V8
the
in it, but not
177.
anymore. We chucking that. I couldn't believe.
Just roll it outside the door
Yeah,
and let somebody take it away?
They can have it. Yeah. But I still want to be true to what it was, but
Good little
put
car.
some sides on it, a little more hips, and they need a little help. I can't believe how massive the engine bays in there are, those cars.
Yeah.
And those cars are like 2 inches wider than like a 69 Mustang, believe it or not.
Wow.
And like
What year?
71.
Oh, you're the bigger one.
Yeah, they're super wide but
Monster
short.
V8s in them.
Short. I mean, they're only like a Mustang's 108 inches. Those are like 103.
Really?
Something like that.
Really?
Yeah, we're just
Wow.
fat and short,
Okay.
like my wife.
Oh, wow. Luckily, she won't watch this.
Can we get that?
Sam texted me, can you tell Mike to call his wife? Just got that text about 30 seconds ago.
I love my wife.
Nice.
And hopefully she still loves you. Yeah.
Nothing that comes out of my wife would surprise her.
Okay.
Or out of your mouth.
Your
what's
mouth.
the-
Out of my
Yeah,
mouth.
okay. Yeah, okay. So she's not surprised by that.
No. If anybody
Check,
knows
please.
her,
As long as you don't get hit with a bolt of
Oh,
lightning.
yeah.
I'm
I
walking
probably-
out of here.
I
I'm
probably-
going to walk out of this door after
I'll
you.
deserve it. But
It's going to be a
she's a
sniper on the roof waiting for your ass, and I'm going to be standing away.
You got in the way, right?
after 32 years, I think
She's heard it all, right?
She's heard it all.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll appreciate that last one. Whether she's heard it or not. Well, that's a good roster coming down
it's a
coming
good
down the
one. It's
racks.
fun. So I don't know in what order they will finish, but that's where we're at.
And they have a tendency to move back and forth depending
They do.
upon what,
Yeah.
waiting on parts or whatever, right?
yeah, especially today.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's loads of fun, isn't it?
Yeah. You definitely
How
have
long?
to manage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were where it started, and new stuff going. If you could, what would it be? If you could build you would like to do
Fill in the blank. Yeah.
You know what? I think, believe it or not, this Aston Martin's a car because I wanted to do a European car.
Is this for you?
No. Oh, for me
No,
personally.
yeah. if
but-
you could have your druthers
have
Oh,
of
if
it,
I could
of it.
have my car.
Yeah.
No, or if it's somebody comes in and it's well funded. If you could, I'd do a.
Well, for me,
Don't say a Mustang.
no. For me, because I can't have one, can't afford one, I've just been a Porsche lover for my life.
Really?
I just love Porsches. I don't know why. I just think they're...
I got a 71 911 that just came into the shop.
Oh, wow.
He's the original owner.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Because
Anyway.
Porsches are not Midwest cars.
No, they're not Midwest
at all.
cars. The only people I ever knew were... It's some about... My daughter's a designer. She designs bikes for Trek, and she got to travel, and
Cool.
she kind of... She went to the Porsche place in Europe and the Mercedes, and she kind of nailed it. Even though she's young, she goes, Porsche's always been true to what they were, right? Like Mercedes are here, and she goes, you go into a museum, you're like, how does that Mercedes, And she goes, you go into a Porsche,
Oh, Porsche's
and
Porsche.
it's true from day one, and there's just something about being able, to me, it's mind-boggling. It'd be like building nothing but Mustangs and trying to keep it to look like a Mustang and then recreate it every one.
Yeah, and then reinvent
Somehow
yourself. Yeah.
they and everyone
Reinvent themselves.
is just knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
But for that, it's like I could buy any year Porsche. It's not. I know by now it's going to be timeless, and there's just something about making something timeless that I would like to own.
Yeah.
And maybe just put a little bit of spin on.
Air cooled, water cooled.
Yeah,
Where?
I think air.
Good man.
Yeah.
You
Good
know,
man.
It's like,
Yeah.
I
Tradition,
mean,
right?
Yeah, I mean,
No,
it's just-
smaller.
Yeah,
The
smaller.
newer ones are gorgeous, but they look like a water retentive 911. They're giant,
like a 96.
right?
I mean, I don't know
Here's your
anything
new
about
911.
the numbers of Porsches, 996, 997. I don't know what that means.
993s,
I don't know what
GT3,
that
GT2,
means. I just
RSR.
know, cool.
There's only one number you need to know, 930.
Yeah, I had
Well,
one.
yeah.
Or
I had-
935.
I had a 930.
I like
my
good old
brother
sloop
wrecked it.
nose.
It was my father-in-law's car.
Gumballa.
82 930 we had, and it was amazing. Didn't know what we had till my brother wrecked it. Spun it around. Is that a surprise?
No, not much. Not at all.
Well,
No.
all that weight in the back.
Yeah,
is-
you just got to keep your foot in it, and your mind's telling you slow down, and
Yep.
you're going too fast, but don't hit the brakes.
No, that's the wrong thing to
Yeah.
do.
So I don't know. So for me, that would be my dream car. I know I'll never own one, but that's
That's the first way you're not going to own
yeah.
one
I
is
mean,
look at Mr. Defeat here. You know what you need to do while you're out here is go visit my old painter, Mick Jenkins, because Mick Jenkins paints all the Singer 911s.
oh really?
You want your eyeballs on some nice 911s.
I've only seen one, and a guy in Madison just got his.
One of the Singers?
Yeah, and he brought it to the shop, and it's
Really?
a beautiful car.
Yeah.
Those guys are amazing. I don't know who they are, but shout out to
They're
them
actually a
boys.
ragtag group of...
Well,
They do
whoever
a
they
great-
are, I
Yeah,
love their work.
They do
so
nice.
Shout out
Wait,
to those
have you seen the
boys.
turbo study?
I have.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I don't know. The Quail did a Porsche by. It was the orange one. Who's the other Porsche guy? And
There's a couple now that have come out that are doing...
they're pretty famous though. They're from your area too.
Well, okay, that takes roof out of it.
Not Roof. It's a local company, and they did an orange.
What color?
Orange.
I know
It was
who
at
you're
Pebble
talking about.
Beach,
God
huh?
dang it.
Gunther?
Gunther.
Yeah.
That car is beautiful. I mean, shout out to them boys too, because that car is amazing.
And who's the outlaw? Ron Emery? Ron Emery with the outlaw 356 coupes. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, it's
that
just
dude
another world.
cornered the market
It's
on
cool.
those
I mean,
cars. He's the man.
But you would
As
keep
a
the
car
drivetrain
guy,
pretty much the same.
I
and
think
then,
so.
and
Why
just
mess
give it
with
some image?
what's-
Yeah.
yeah.
Why mess with
Yeah,
perfection?
I mean,
By the way,
I
while
think
you're
you
out
always
here,
look at what other people do in bigger eyes, right?
I don't think it's gone yet. The Magnus Walker display down at the Peterson Museum, I think it's still there.
I didn't even know who he was. A guy had explained it to me, and I
Yeah.
went through and
You head on down to the Peterson, get an eye
never
full of
been
his
there
stuff.
either.
Oh, you've never been? Oh,
Peterson?
Wow. It's
Our cars, a couple have been in there, but I've never been there.
really
Try getting on a plane?
well. I mean, there's a second take on that because I was around for the original thing when it started, and
Yeah.
we had some input into that as a
I remember.
magazine, and then it's just now completely.
And I know.
different.
Well, I'm lucky
and-
because I got to film down there all the time, and I was downstairs
Well, and we did the
filming
radio
down there.
stuff then,
and we
too.
did the radio
That
stuff
was
there.
so much fun.
we had so much fun there.
We did it.
And
We
then
did a
it
radio,
changed.
Carcraft radio.
Yep.
And we did this thing. We didn't have a room. This is at
We were
least a room
upstairs
with
on the
closed
second
doors.
floor.
Second next to the Batmobile.
Next to the Batmobile.
Really?
And-
so I was the host of it, right? And I had this idea. I said, I'm going to bring in Doug Glad and Jeff Smith, and have the actual, for the guys who listen to the show, now you can hear the voices of the actual guys who wrote the magazine.
Yeah.
So I'd bring them in and I'd let him expound, because there's never enough pages for him to explain his camshaft story. So I'd let him, talk about that, and then we'd talk about this, that, or the other thing. And so the page, it was so fast. But we'd have groups of school kids come through.
And they
right?
start
And
squealing over the battle.
And I'd go,
And
everybody
we're-
say CarCraft rules.
And it was all live. Well, not live. It was recorded, but
it was live.
But it was live when we were recording it, and we would just stop and say, "Okay, what you heard right there was a bunch of school kids coming through."
Was
And-
Mrs.
and-
Gunther's 4th grade class from Claremont High.
And it was because it was guerrilla radio, basically would be the best way to say it. And it was so much fun. So much fun. And I'd have to drive all the way from my house down to the station. Or
Same.
down to,
I'm in Simi Valley and I'm going all the way down.
It was always a trudge to get down there.
And then you get there and the escalators aren't working.
Right.
And so
Well,
you just
but,
walk up the escalator up to the
But
second floor.
Then
And
once you got there, and we got behind the microphone.
Yeah, it's just so fun.
It was bam, 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 and it went so fast. Then you started bringing guests in.
Oh, yeah,
and
we
that
brought in
was even
everybody.
More fun. So
That,
that was kind of
like Frank
really,
Aldana.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, I'm trying to get onto here. He's here today.
Is he here?
Yeah, he's here today on the grounds. But that being said, too,
That was
so
really
at
the foundation.
I had a show, a news program called America Now that I was the automotive guy, and I got the approval, and we were able to use the Peterson as our filming spot.
Wow.
And I'm downstairs filming in the basement, and like next to me is that GT40, that original street one with the wire wheels on it.
Yeah.
And then next to it is, I'm not kidding you, is Boot Hill Express. Do you know what that is?
Custom car, Ray Farner's Custom Auto Show.
It was a very famous model kit, and it's like 1812 hearse with a blown head or an injected
yeah,
head
yeah,
in it.
inside,
I know, yeah.
and then set
But
up
the
on
real
top with
one,
a straight wheel
the,
like that.
the real actual one, and the stagecoach was next to it,
Yeah.
and then like the Pope's car.
When
And
I
then,
was
the Phaeton, open Phaeton tub from Hot for Teacher.
okay.
And just line it
All
up.
these
James,
custom cars.
Steve McQueen's Lister Jag
Okay.
is sitting there. But one of the coolest and saddest things is there was this pile of, like, you could tell it was a furniture desk thing. And it's just this pretty, if constructed, obviously a large piece. And I go, what's that? And they go, that's Robert Peterson's desk. And it got put down here. I'm like, can you imagine the amount of deals that were made across that desk over the,
It's just
it was
sitting in the
sitting there in
basement?
a pile. It was right when you come down off of the, I know.
That's criminal.
And it was right at the bottom when you come out of the elevator and you go around, and I'm like going, and it was right next to Boot Hill Express, and it was just sitting there against the wall.
Really?
And I'm filming it like every day. I'm like, I need to take a piece of that home. But
Well, it needs to be put back together and in the museum.
you think,
His name's on it. You think that would be a good idea?
and it,
But see,
for the longest time, it just sat there, and I don't know what happened to it.
It has shifted, and it's not the same. And it's sad. It's sad
But you need to go there. It's a world-class museum.
I've heard nothing
It's
but
phenomenal.
positive,
And if they still allow, they did have tours to go down in the basement
yeah.
because there's more stuff in that basement.
Well, and that's where all the archive photography is. It's down
It's
in the
moved there
basement.
now?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
there's
so.
offices now. Because when I was down there filming, all of a sudden they're building all these modern offices downstairs. And you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It looks totally different than it used
Yeah.
to.
But we've lost our archivist. Vohringer, Thomas Vohringer was
Right.
the archivist, and it's just a sad deal because the Discovery Channel owns what used to be all,
Right,
and it's
of
all
course.
Peterson archives, and Source did a wonderful thing where they digitized like
Source Interlink.
Source Interlink, a previous owner. After Mr. Peterson sold it, they digitized a lot of the early images through the first 20 or 30 years. But they stopped because it was very, very expensive. And Discovery really hasn't done anything about that yet. And it'd be sad, but I mean, at least now there's something called Motor Trend Plus, where they claim you can have access. Now I've tried to get on this thing, and they make it very, very difficult. And I'm electronically, I admit I'm a dinosaur, but I can't make it work. So it's like, but I don't think it's me. But we'll see. But supposedly you can you pay your money and then you have access to the images, which is like, oh my God, there is some phenomenal stuff in there.
Unless you're at my house, and then I have all.
Well, of course,
Yeah.
I mean, In fact,
not all the stuff that wasn't published though.
So I haven't told you this yet, but I'm going to stay another
Did you
couple.
burn my house to the ground?
No, I'm actually staying for another couple of months because I've decided to start reading a copy of Rodder's Journal every night.
Oh, and I have all of those.
And you have all of those,
Yeah,
so I'm
I
going to
have
be
all
for
of
at
that.
least 3 more months. I don't have to stay at your house
Yeah,
for another.
that's fine. I have plenty of people that John McGann comes up and uses my library
Does
too.
he? Does he? Yeah. Oh, because
If
it's
I've probably got whatever.
So they will
it
shout
is.
out to Steve Koonin and
Oh,
Rodder's
yes, of
Journal
course.
because it is if you don't know about it, find it and buy it because it's a fantastic magazine.
Now, what we've learned today is that somebody has got to get a hold of Mr. Ring and sell or give him a early 911 so that he may fulfill his destiny.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
there you go. There you go.
That's
Well,
right.
that really was the mantra at Peterson. They never advertised the books at all.
Really?
Never did. No, he did no promotion, no advertising, nothing. It was always, if we build it, you will find us, and then you will like
You'll
it.
buy it.
And I'll tell you what, for many, 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 many years, decades, it worked. Because that was how I found. That's how. I mean, I'm sure you probably did the same thing.
Absolutely.
Walking home from school one day, walking to my grandfather's
We have to
gas
wrap.
station.
We have to wrap up.
Yeah.
Because I never asked you this, just as car guy. When did you discover? Was it Carcraft? Was it Hot Rod? Was it Popular Hot Rodding? What was the first prints that you had? Was it a book? Was it a book on stock car racing? What was it? Was there anything in your hands besides a Hot Wheels or a real car that you gravitated and every month had to get your hands on it to read it? Because I was, as soon as I could find anything, because I'm in a smaller town than you.
Wow. I was going to say, we didn't have a place to buy magazines that I can remember. No, I mean, it was only, I used to wash cars on Saturday when I was really young, like 11 and 12. And I remember washing some guys' Javelins and, Mustangs and
Muscle cars.
Yeah. And that's really,
That's where it started.
I got to be honest, all the names you guys mentioned, I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's okay.
I mean,
it's all right.
It's like people
when
look
he
at
started-
me and they mention names. I'm like, I don't know old cars.
Okay.
Like, I can't tell you a 32 from a 38. I know nothing. I mean, I feel like I'm
Straight facing
That's
me
why
with
it's
lies,
like coming
lies.
here is like
This is heresy.
I am. Yeah. I mean, if it's. I know 55s in
Good.
Chevys, but if it was a
Thank you.
Pontiac or a Buick, I couldn't tell you.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's the wagon out here, the Caballero. I think it's an Oldsmobile.
See?
And I had to go up and ask the guy. I said,
There you go. Well, I don't feel
it's
so
next to a Nomad that's been highly customized, and then there was this beautiful wagon, and we were out looking at it. I finally asked this guy. I says, "Did you tune this up?" He goes, "No, it's totally stock. It's right out here. It's like." Maybe slightly down slightly. It's in the middle. It's in the middle somewhere. It's a dark burgundy, I think. We looked at it for about 10 minutes. I'm just blown away by all this radical chrome and all this stuff. And he goes, "No,
Stock.
it's totally stock." Wow. And I thought, well, you'd have to be because you'd spend your life making this. Just an amazing car. I thought, I've never seen that
Thank
before.
you.
So you're not alone. You're not alone at all.
I mean, I feel
when
bad
he
'cause
starts
so many
rattling
people
off
are-
sports car stuff, I'm still trying to catch up. So
he knows
I
everything.
have issues.
Yeah.
So
Hot rod issues.
Yeah, hot rod issues.
not
car
that
crash.
issue. No, actually, that's the better issues to have. I guess. So
I got lots of them too.
I mean, I
Before
feel such a fish out of water, and my brother's just as bad. We know nothing about. We just,
that's fantastic on some end, though. But look what
I
they turn
was
out
just thinking the same thing.
without being
all those influences.
influenced with all that.
Right, and still be able to do what you guys do.
Yeah, I mean-
That's
Interesting case study.
That's even more
Lock him in a
impressive.
room.
Really, I mean, I think so.
thanks.
Absolutely.
So now, before you sign off, how does everybody go find out what's going on with you guys? There's obviously a website, then there's probably social media. So prattle that off
You know
so the
what?
kids at home can
You're
follow
not gonna
along.
believe this. I
You
have a
don't
flip
know what
phone.
it is.
It does not work out here. I turned it on out here. And it
Maybe
says
buy
searching.
some minutes.
That's all it
couple
says
of
is
minutes.
searching for thing. I
Just
don't have
do-
email. I'm not on any social media.
Okay.
So if you want to get a hold of Ring Brothers,
Call
it's
Steve at
like
Pure Vision and I'll forward it over to you.
And I do believe we have.
A website?
Yes, we have
You
a
have a
website.
website? Okay.
But
So,
what's the
like-
other one? Where you
Instagram, Facebook,
I know we got Facebook.
Okay.
LinkedIn, MySpace.
You
I
thought
don't
I,
think
was
we
bad.
I don't think
I knew social media.
I don't
kids
think
in
we
the
got
room
any
going,
of
what the
that.
hell?
But,
What is wrong with these?
seriously, you guys.
These
And
I
friggin'
don't- I
dinosaurs.
And there are 20-year-olds going, oh my God.
What a bunch of idiots.
My brother's got
What's
one.
a flip
My
phone?
brother's got a regular phone.
A
He
regular
gets pissed.
phone.
You got to get a phone. Everybody calls me looking for you. And I'm like, I would not own a phone of my wife. But it's
Again,
so
with a wife.
sweet out here that look at it, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. It's even better.
Okay, so
there
we're
are-
all going to guess that
You
it's
guys will let them know where to get a
ringbrothers.com.
hold of us, right?
Yeah.
Ring Brothers.
You
Just
can Google it. You
Can't
can
just
Google it and find
Ring
it
Brothers?
really
Doesn't
quickly.
it tell you
Just
from there?
search
So,
it.
so
or-
which is a great backhanded way of telling you really need to come there because now
Yeah.
it's a search to go find
Yeah.
it.
Well, now
There
it's
you
a
go.
challenge to see if they have anything.
Yeah, I have to find it. It's
Figure
a
it out.
quest. It's a quest.
Yeah.
Where's Mike Ring?
Weren't you guys just talking about the Peterson and how you just did it and they come? That's the same way with us.
There it
you go.
is.
There you go. Yeah,
Ay,
it
ay,
still
ay.
works.
It
It
still
still
works
works.
the
It's the
same
greatest interview end ever. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing.
Well, thank you guys.
Hey,
for-
listen,
Yeah,
thanks for
very
coming
welcome.
up. This is a
Thank
great
you.
time. We had a great time.
Steve.
We're
You're more
again
than
here.
welcome. Great to be here.
We're here at the Grand National Roadster Show. We want to give a shout out to those guys. They gave us our little spot here.
Sure.
And they're wonderful people to work
Thanks,
with.
John.
And
Thanks, Kevin.
That's right. So thanks again to those guys. And of course, our friends at arp-bolts.com, because without them, we'd be
Not
paddling,
much, yeah.
paddling the canoe, right?
Without
And
the paddle.
with our hats. So
There's really
that come
bad
from?
head shaking on the other side of the camera.
we're just having too much fun here. So again, thanks for watching. Click ring the bell, do all that stuff.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Is that it? Okay. And we'll just keep telling you stories.